Friday. Oh my God. To whatever higher power it is you believe in, congratulations, you made it. You made it to happy hour. Friday, GeekBeast, happy hour. Hello, nerds. Welcome to GeekBeast, part of the Geekish Network. This is your daily rundown of geeks of geek news from geeks that look like me, geeks that look like you, and geeks that look like my man. Yeah, I know, right? I just took a smell of my glass and it was enough to have me like, whoo! Who's that? The Black Lion? Is that Hannibal? It is. Jack, what's cracking, baby?
Not much. What's going on?
Hey, man,
just chilling.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday to you.
How have you been celebrating your day so far? It's a day, a tad bit of celebration.
It's been an interesting day. It's been a very interesting week. You know, Russia invaded Ukraine again for the millionth time and doing some BS, of course. Yeah. Oh man, I've been watching all kinds of videos. I'm like, these dudes.
Yeah. I was having a quick little powwow with the voice in the sky or the co-producer, and it's always surreal.
Yeah, it is.
To look at historical moments in war. Especially this type of conflict on television, because it's not a video game, it's not a scripted television show that you're watching. You know, this is people that have real stakes that's going on. So,
and it's interesting because in America we don't have this fear. Not right now, we don't. You know, we're surrounded by two other countries. Both of them are allies for the most part, and we're more powerful than them. You know,
yeah. So, well, here's what we're gonna do real quick. I'm gonna go ahead because this is happy hour because I want to make sure we set the tone. Yeah. And if this is your first happy hour show, we kind of just kick back and have like a quick drink, and we kind of just shoot the ish. I'll go ahead and start off real quick because I want to do just a quick toast to everybody's safety and peace of mind regarding all the conflicts that's going on. And I'm sipping on just a little bit of Bacardi. Chuck, what you sipping on real quick?
Man, I'm sipping on whiskey, the Japanese kind, This is Centuri Toki. So yeah, I can shout out. They should sponsor us for that right there. That's a big shout out to them. They should sponsor us on that.
I got some red wine, gentlemen.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Red wine. What you sipping? Kind of red wine.
Hey, yeah, just a little quick sip of respect to for those going through it. Your family and loved ones are going through it. Peace of mind and safety.
Yes.
All right. Hey, chat, what y'all out there sipping on? I saw the funk out there. Paul, what's cracking out there, man? Thank you for hopping in. Yo, he got some bourbon going on. I hear you with that. Bourbon. You're that messing with that brown lady. I'm not mad at it. Oh man. Hey, so one more little piece of the spiel. Yo, if this is your first time hanging out with us on GeekBeast, we typically on Monday through Thursday, we give you the Geek News Beat and we share our opinions with you. Since we are people of color, we feel that our viewpoint is going to be a little bit different than what you would typically see in your typical news feed. That's why we do what we do. All right, so I think that's all the big formalities out of the way. Yo, man. So, hey, just to kick off anything, yo, how many of y'all are on that Elden Ring?
Not touching it. Probably would never ever touch it.
It's dope. Elden Ring is crazy dope.
There's two things I don't like in one game that I love it. I love everything about it.
You like rage games?
I want to play those games. I want to know. No. It's first of all, it's a From Software game.
Yes,
and that means it's a Souls.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Quite a Souls game. It's easier than a Souls. What does that mean? What does that mean? Tell me, what does that mean? What does it mean to be easier than a Souls game? What does that mean? From the people that make Souls games. The number two, they're like, oh, this is open world. This is open as Breath of the Wild. That means you can run straight up to a boss if you want to.
You
can just be walking through the forest and a boss will run up on you. No, I got that at Demon Souls. I was walking around the corner one time in Demon Souls and got hit by a sergeant class character, and I was like, "Nah, I'm done. I'm tired of dying. I am tired of dying."
Well, this has been one of the most anticipated games. It's been one of the most anticipated games for like the past 5 years. I think it's been since they announced it. It's finally here after a couple of delays. Hit yesterday, and if you're not familiar with From Software, From Software, I think it's the production company. Is that the name of it?
Yep.
They make rage games. If you're not familiar with the term rage games, it's when you get so mad because of the difficulty level that many times sticks, consoles, television screens, monitors, and loved ones end up becoming broken as a result of it. And to make matters even worse, what Chuck was saying, it is a sandbox game that has that type of gameplay with it as well. It's very beautiful, though. It's very beautiful. It's tons of fun. It's hard as hell, though.
Yeah. They're like, oh, when you start out, you're gonna die in the first 5 seconds. I don't need that. Who wants that? Who said, you know what? I want to die every time I walk into a village because nope. And I love
in and the boss be like, yeah, welcome to this level. You'd be like, yeah. Word. I didn't even have to pull the sword out.
I mean, they've always made games like this from the moment they made Armor Core. They've always made games with that. You have to learn the pattern. You're gonna die a million times learning the pattern. And guess what? You're gonna keep playing. No, I'm good. I heard Sekiro's the same way.
Same people play through. But it's a story that I nonetheless.
All the Souls games. They have their own genre of game now. That's how bad they are. Like, it's a Souls game. They could call it a From Software game. They don't want to do that because you don't want to give a company that much props. But
if you're with that type of pain,
though.
It does. It looks amazing. It plays okay. It plays well. It's a learning curve, especially because I'm not a Souls fan, so it's a learning curve for me.
Oh yeah. Let's see how long you take to play it. You think you're gonna beat it?
I don't know. Now I don't have the time to beat it, but I don't mind getting lost in the world.
Did you beat Breath of the Wild?
No, I did not. My son did it for me, but
how would you go to this game if you didn't beat Breath of the Wild? Like Breath of the Wild is the training wheels. It's the kid version of this.
Yes. I have played Breath of the Wild. I've gotten a pretty decent amount into it.
I've gotten nowhere in Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I played for like 30 hours and done nothing. Done absolutely nothing. Go around beating up little minions because I can.
Do you remember your first Rage game? I think mine was the first time Ninja Gaiden. Was it Sigma? I think it was Sigma. That was like one of my very first Rage games where I was like, why would anybody make something like this? Why? It's what's it called when you love pain? I forgot what it's called. Oh shoot, it'll come to me in a second.
Masochist?
It's yes. It's like you have to be a full-blown masochist to enjoy this. And I loved Ninja Gaiden. I love the original old NES one. And Ninja Gaiden 2 was legendary. It was like one of the best sequels for that type of game ever. And then they went to the big boy consoles and did, I think it was Ninja Gaiden Black, Ninja Gaiden Sigma, and there was like another one. And I was like, this is ridiculous. But it was so dope. It was so cool to kind of do the
my first Rage game. That's a good question. The games that what game made me go like, oh shit, I'm gonna break something. Let me think. What made me do? Let me think about that one for a second. I want to say Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden was one of those games, but the game came late. I want to say probably Ghosts and Goblins made me rage quit.
That's actually a really good one, low key.
I think Ghosts and Goblins was the game
for a 2D side scroller. Yeah,
that game. I think that game is the game. It was Ghosts and Goblins. I think Ghosts and Goblins had me ready to fight somebody.
Yo, big shout out to Rodney. He said Street Fighter 2 was his first race.
Oh,
game.
Wow, really? I was
wanna
decent at that game, so I was okay with that. But yeah, I would probably say it might have been Ghosts and Goblins for sure. I was like, is it Altered Beast? No, it's not Altered Beast. I hate
Altered Beast.
See, Ninja Gaiden, it doesn't cheat you. It's a fighting game that you have to be really good at. But when I played Ninja Gaiden 3 after the Sigma one, Ninja Gaiden 3 cheated you. You walked in the room and somebody shooting projectiles at you before you can even look up to see where they are in the room. So you have to run out in the room and jump, look and see where they are, and you realize they're beside you on the side wall shooting. So you walk in the room facing this way, and they're shooting from this side, and you're like, "What? That's unfair. That's totally unfair." It's like you cheating me. I hate so the From Software games. They don't cheat you. You die because you suck, and they make sure you know that.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the part that's more frustrating because you see the animation and you're like, "Oh, I just got out. Well, there it goes. That was definitely that was definitely on me." But here's something interesting about it, in case you didn't know, regarding Elden Ring, is that George R.R. Martin is allegedly had a very big part in it. They haven't really said specifically exactly what that part is. We're assuming it's dealing with the story because that's his wheelhouse, his story. But you know, I haven't seen it, you know, regarding. I'm like, oh, that's definitely a George R.R. moment. I haven't seen none of that.
Yeah.
But you know,
I heard he did the story, like the concept idea of the story and how it plays is him. And then he said, "From Software, do your thing, make it impossible, punish people."
Yeah. Would you want to see a game that was story done by, let's say, somebody like James Gunn? Would you want to see like mainstream directors and other story creators who? Better question. Let me re-say this. What other creator would you like to see as a director of a video game? Be it books, if they're an author, be it a
director of video games.
Yeah, somebody that would like put their vision out.
I don't think I'd trust a film director to do video games. We've seen what they do. They're not, because they can't relinquish control.
Shots fired, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I don't think a filmmaker can make a good video game. I don't think that's capable. I think they're totally incapable of doing so.
Oh,
I think they could probably do cinematic directing of a video game, but actually be a game director? Nah, they don't understand. You have to understand interactivity. You know, I've worked around a bunch of people that were filmmakers and stuff. They're making video games, and I've been with them. Like, you have no idea what you're doing.
But wait a minute, one of the more popular games of the early 2000s was done by none other than Vin Diesel. It was a Riddick game that was actually really good.
Vin Diesel was the executive producer. It was his studio, and he ponied up all the money. He had a really good game director and said, "Make your dream and make me sure I star in it."
Did you play it?
Yes. And it's a great game.
It was good. It was good, right? It was like it was low key really good, right? So
he's attached to the game, but he was the money guy. He was the guy that says, "I like video games. I know how to make them. Let me hire up a studio of a bunch of people that know how to make video games."
Okay.
Like Guillermo del Toro was set to do one with Hideo Kojima, which was an interesting marriage, because what would have happened is Guillermo probably would have carved the story and said, "Hideo, you always want to make a movie, but you always make games, and they're full of fluff and all kinds of platitudes and
12 hours of dialogue,
nonsensical story. Let me put a sensical story to it and give you a game." Like, I didn't play Hideo's last game. I didn't play Death Stranding.
Death Stranding?
Yeah. Fling blood poo at creatures. I'm good.
Ooh.
I'm good.
Big shout out to the Funk, and anybody else. Yo, please pop into the chat and let us know, because we just kicking it. You know, I'm still in a moment of sanity before the liquor all the way kicks in. But the Funk said, he said, "Yo, Steven Spielberg, Boom Blocks on Wii was hot. I think I remember Boom Blocks. I gotta actually go to the interweb and take a look at this. Boom Blocks.
No, Boom Blocks is a puzzle game, and I think Steven Spielberg said, "I got this idea of a puzzle game. Let's make that." But let's be honest.
The Funk. You remember Boom Blocks? Boom Blocks was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, but he ain't direct that stuff. Come on, y'all. Y'all quit that. Y'all quit that. That's on Emblem. You know, quit that, guys. Y'all quit that. Because he's supposed to do LMNO too. That was on the Wii, and it never happened.
Well, hold on. There was also another director that had a really large influence over one of the NBA 2Ks, and that was Spike Lee. Spike Lee had his version where he did the storytelling.
It said do the cinematics. You can't, but you don't have to do the game in 2K. 2K is done by 2K. You let him do the story mode.
Well, isn't story really important when you're creating a game? Like, isn't that what aids into the immersion?
Nope, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Games, you can figure out the game mechanics first, and then you can wrap a fictional wrap around it. When you figure out what you're doing in the game and you make that really fun, you can make it space aliens and cowboys. As long as you can make a story, you can make a story come out of thin air. You know,
Mm,
don't get me wrong. There's some stories that came with the game, such as The Last of Us, but they knew that
right.
game mechanic. They've been working on it Uncharted, and they're like, let's slow down the game mechanic, change the camera a little bit, and make it more methodical. But the most important thing in games is gameplay and interactivity, is the immersion.
Right. Right.
There's been a lot of horrible games with great stories.
Hey, you're probably telling the exact truth.
Horrible games with great
Yeah.
stories,
Big shout out to the Funky Game.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, he said, Yusef Fares. Oh, that's right. I forgot about him. Yusef Fares is a movie director who's been on a hot streak in games. It Takes Two won Game of the Year at the Dice Awards last night. So, yo, Game of the Year award. We watched that live actually.
Yeah.
And we kind of sat there and was like, oh wow, movie directors and people.
Have you seen Yusef Fares' design team? He got a bunch of badass designers in there too, sitting with him. Tons of them.
Well, to give credit, Spielberg is an amazing director, but he's not shooting anything without a crew. You have to have a crew.
I agree. I agree.
So, and I'm sure that is how it is with games as well. Well, at least these AAA games.
Yeah.
You have to have a really large team.
And let's be honest, the games are fun, kind of asymmetric in a 2-player, but are they really great games? Are we gonna say Brothers that Tell the Two Sons is really a great game?
Well, I don't know about that, but It Takes Two is really good. It Takes Two is really good.
I mean, It Takes Two is really good. I think all his games are really good. A Way Out is a really good game. The story's good, but the gameplay is like, come on, Defunct. Come on, Defunct. These games are not comparing to anything that comes out of Nintendo's wheelhouse. They don't even have story on half their games. You're a plumber trying to save a princess, or you're this warrior trying to save this chick named Zelda. Come on. The stories aren't saving these games. He knows that. Don't get me wrong. They make good, interesting games and good narrative games. Don't get me wrong. His games are probably better than Quantic Dreams games, which are all narrative gameplay, choose your own adventure. But they're not changing. They're not better than a From Software game.
Well, all right. So why is the conversation with a lot of movie directors? A lot of movie directors are saying that games are going to be the new movies. I am a firm believer of you are not going to make any movie good unless the story is solid, regardless of who the director is, regardless of who the actor is, regardless of who anything. Nothing is more important than story. And if these directors are kind of like taking the standpoint of saying that the new movies are going to be games, then how does that exist with you having amazing gameplay?
The only people
and still being immersive without a good story?
Only people saying that as directors because they ain't making that blockbuster money that games has been making since the 80s or 90s. So games have been crushing the movie industry for a long time, but there's some fame and glory around being in movies because seeing it on the silver screen makes all the difference, right?
Yeah.
That's slowly
old prestige.
That's deteriorating. It's not the same. And so everybody wants to get in games because it's the metaverse and you have to be interactive and they want to be in VR and AR and blah, 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 and blah, 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 And so they all want to jump in. But when you talk to any of these people, they have no idea. So this is the game I want to do where you walk down this hallway and you shoot ghosts with a laser gun. It's kind of like Ghostbusters, but it's not. Like, what's the core mechanic in that? Shooting ghosts. Why is that even fun? Make that fun. Convince me that's fun. I don't know. Well, I got a story. Nobody plays games for stories. People play games.
I don't know, man. There's a very I don't know. I can't co-sign on you completely because there's games that look horrible even today, like from a look standpoint. But play decent enough, but the story gets people. Another one, a big one, is Undertale. My son plays it. It's still got old Super Nintendo soundtrack. It's so old school. But the immersive thing about it It's
But
the
that's look at the game.
story that's got them.
Nah, what people fall in love with Undertale is the compulsion loop of what you're doing. That dopamine hit that you get. Boom, boom. That dopamine hits like on the beat, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm doing right. And the story just adds to it. Because before they made that game Undertale, they had all those levels done, and they knew exactly what they were making. Like, okay, let's put a story around it. And they throw the story on at the very end.
So you're of the camp that story doesn't matter. I woefully disagree.
It does not. It's not saying it doesn't matter, but gameplay matters more. Gameplay, like for example, we have Wukong, that game of the Journey of the West, that's coming out of Game Science in China. If their gameplay doesn't match up to as good as that game looks, no matter how interesting that story is going to be from the Journey of the West, we've seen it a million times, that game's not going to sell. It's going to come out and not work. And what makes God of War work, for example, the gameplay is really well done, and it has a really strong story. Now, the marriage of both is always the win. You know, the marriage of both. Like I tell everybody, when Uncharted 2 won Game of the Year versus Arkham Asylum, the reason was because Uncharted 2 had a better camera system. The camera just worked better, and it was more cinematic camera, which always looks better.
It was action packed. I mean, Arkham was okay, but the story, the story is all over the place on Arkham. The story on Uncharted, it was made for a cinematic style audience. That's why it looks and feels cinematic. It's why people love Uncharted. Casuals love Uncharted more than hardcores.
But Arkham Asylum is truly a gamer's game because it had game mechanics, and it was one level that as you got better and became Batman again and unlocked your abilities again, and because you got access to certain tools, the level unlocked. It was a very smart game. You're on Arkham Asylum, and your job is to find where the fuck Joker is because he done locked down Arkham and held it up as a fort. It's attack the fort game, and that's what you're doing in it. And you're going around one asylum that's unlocking all kinds of things in it.
Yeah, but the story was kind of like all over the place. Whereas Uncharted is really simple. Like it's simple but complex enough to maintain it's interesting. And there's very few lulls in it. I mean, I think that to me it's one of the reasons why Uncharted got picked up by Sony, you know, as to make a movie from, because it was already cinematic to begin with.
Oh yeah, they made a cinematic game, but when you talk to Amy, she knew her gameplay, and she hired they have some of the best game designers in the industry working for that studio. You know, where Nathan Drake's story was second compared to what she was making in the story. Then don't get me wrong, she had moments where she's like, I don't think they're gonna go there, kill that whole entire level. Of course she did that. Because
you know why this. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off. That was rude.
But it was all about the gameplay. She said the gameplay was too difficult and Nathan's too clumsy to be here. So let's kill that. Like the Funk said, El Shaddai, Ascension of the Metatron is a beautiful game, interesting story, but the gameplay is like, we're journeying.
But see, here's the flip side of that coin. Here's the flip side of that coin. The Last of Us. People loved The Last of Us. The gameplay, bar none, is some of the best gameplay you've ever played. But the story is one of the things that makes it absolutely legendary. There's a lot of people. There's even side stories that are just as incredible as the main story. People enjoy the story and the characters so much. Hold on, let me finish. People enjoy the story and the characters so much that The Last of Us 2 is a far superior gameplay game. Far. I mean, probably one of the better gameplay type games of that year of its release, outside of maybe Ghost of Tsushima when it came out. Legendary gameplay performance. People hated it in droves because of a character that was beloved who died. You don't fall in love with a character unless they have a story behind them.
Yeah.
The story, that game could have been a legendary all decade type game had they had the story in a way that people really wanted to hear. Although I also want to be sure and make sure I'm clear when I say this, the people that hate it had bias and messed up reasons as to why they didn't like it, because they didn't want to expand their mind and think on a different way. But regardless of that, the narrative, whether you agree with the narrative or not, the narrative was the reason why people had such disdain for that property.
I hear what you're saying, and people will tell you today, Breath of the Wild is a better game, and it has hardly any story. You go save Zelda, and everybody knows that story. And then we played that game for real. We played that game for over 20 years, the same exact game with Link, and people will tell you Breath of the Wild is a better game. Breath of the Wild is a better game. And it's because all the systems, all the features, and what you do in that game.
Let me be a fortune teller for you real quick. If you are going to appease the hearts and minds of people on a medium such as television and movies, I don't care how much gameplay it has. Eventually, if that's going to be your key focus, because you have to move people emotionally. Without it, it's not going to sustain. But the gaming industry is going to have to do something if they want that level of.
They're getting that because kids aren't watching television and film. They're occupied with games. When I was at Netflix, that was the biggest things. When Reed came out and said it's not HBO Max, it's not YouTube. These are not the enemy. The enemy's Roblox, Minecraft, Fortnite, Destiny, Uncharted. He says our enemy is video games. Video games, all the young kids, everybody 30 and under, all the older people are not really, they're just now subscribing and streaming media, but they're dying. They're going to be dead. And from our generation to our kids and our grandkids, they grew up on video games. They grew up on Roblox. Kids aren't watching TV no more. They're playing Roblox. And
but they're watching a different type. Story is still in their diet, but it's different.
It is. But they watch each other.
The stories are quicker.
Yeah.
Hence the TikTok relationship, but it's still story. There's still a beginning, middle, and end. There's still an emotional attachment, regardless if it's a 15-second clip, if it's a 3-hour Bollywood film, or if it's a 100-hour video game. There's story in there that's going to. There's a reason why Elden Ring grabbed George R.R. Martin. There's a reason, because
George R.R. Martin wanted to be a part of Elden Ring.
No, don't get it twisted. You don't spend. He didn't do it for free. I promise you.
Oh no! I think he went in as a producer.
You're not getting George R.R. Martin to talk about game mechanics. That's not his wheelhouse.
No, but
you're not going to George R.R. Martin to figure out the left and right button and how the controller interacts. What is the reason why George R.R. Martin is hired? Tell me, why is he hired?
I don't think he was hired. I think he went to From Software.
Why is he working? Semantics. Why is he working for the team? Why?
Because he tells good stories.
One of the most highly anticipated games in the last 5 years went out to find a storyteller, not just any storyteller, an award-winning, legendary
PC. This is what PC Gamer said. George R.R. Martin may be shocked on how well his Elden Ring lore has been twisted. So he made the lore first. They took the lore and twisted it.
I mean,
he made the lore for he said, "Hey, I got this lore. Who can make a game for me?"
Listen,
From Software we'll make the game. We'll pitch your game for you.
You might add a little salt and a little pepper to the recipe, but the recipe is still there. But there's a reason they went and got one of the world's greatest storytellers for this property.
My point, though. You just proved my point. You say these kids like shallow story, faster, quicker, boo, boo, boo. I just said they like story.
I said they like story.
This is video games, right? Name a video game that doesn't tell a story. Even Street Fighter tells a story. It's fast, quick, and it's a full story.
No, I'm not arguing with that. I'm saying if you neglect it, it's not going.
The most important part of a game. You don't watch game. You play games. People can watch a game with you, but you play games. Like Fortnite. What's the story of Fortnite? This doesn't have a story.
The fuck it don't. They add a new story every single week. When they add a brand new character, that character, the reason why that character is popular is because the character comes with a story. And then you bring that story, the story of Spider-Man. There's a story as to why there's web slinging. There's a story why there's Jedis running around in Fortnite. None of that comes without a story. If that was the case, you would just have person W dressed up like this.
Characters that have story that nobody plays because the gameplay sucks.
No, I'm not saying it's the cure-all.
And the game sucks. And it's all players with story. All the characters in Jump have story. They're beloved. Naruto, you have One Piece. You have all the characters there, and nobody plays that game because the gameplay sucks. The gameplay has to be good. Once the gameplay is good, it don't matter. They brought Marshmallow into damn Fortnite. You got Ariana Grande. They just brought in Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
And they don't have that story. They're like, we're testing, we're gonna throw everything into it. Now it did have a story when it had a hardcore game story, when it was Fortnite, where you had to build a fort by name that day and protect the fort at night against zombies. That game failed. It's when they ripped all that out and said, we're gonna make this a battle royale. And when they said battle royale, everybody knew what that was based on the manga. Because the battle royale is a genre. And they were like, yes, we're all in for that. It's like when you look at Call of Duty, the campaign gets played by some players, but majority of players in Call of Duty play multiplayer. They don't care about that story. They don't care about their game. They just want to get multiplayer. People go to the campaign to unlock things that couldn't have a multiplayer that they want to show off they got. And don't get me wrong. Story is a good wrapper, but it's secondary to the gameplay. There's a lot of MMOs out there that have great story, but nobody's ever played them. But you have MMOs like World of Warcraft that have really great gameplay, then have a great story attached to it. Or they have a mediocre story that just comes off as great story because the gameplay is so good, so you forgive it. You're like, the gameplay is odd. The story is odd, but the gameplay is amazing. A lot of people do that. Mortal Kombat has a damn story. It has a long story. Mortal Kombat has an actual cinematic mode that we forgive it because the gameplay is so good. So don't get me wrong. Story's there, but it's
Mortal Kombat is a perfect example. Mortal Kombat was getting a little long in the tooth, and they had to shake things up. And the best way that company could shake things up is they infused story. So where did they go to get story? To one of the greatest story creators of all time outside of Marvel, and that is DC. They brought in the entire DC lineup, and each one of those characters came with story. Why? Because Mortal Kombat was just starting to get a little repetitive. They added the story to spice things up. That's all I'm trying to say.
Actually,
there's a reason why George R.R. Martin is there.
Warner Brothers went to NetherRealms and said, could y'all do this game for me? Because me and the Funk know the lead programmer from that company at the time. They came to them and said, hey, y'all make a kick-ass fighting game. Do that for our properties. We'll help y'all with the story. But nobody played Injustice for the story. People played Injustice to beat those superheroes and beat up on each other. The gameplay was so good. Don't get me wrong. They could have went to any other studio to make a fighting game. They could have went to Capcom. They could have went to the Street Fighter team. They could have went to the Marvel vs. Capcom team to ask to make them a fighting game. They went to NetherRealms because they like that gameplay. And NetherRealms makes kick-ass combat. And they make great combat. Mortal Kombat story is better than their DC stories when you play those story modes in those games. Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. Mortal Kombat,
but
their story is better than Injustice because it's so over the top and pushes like 90s action hero shit to the next level. But nobody really plays that because you know what everybody plays it for? They play it to fight each other. Like when you watch Sonic Fox, who brings in the most viewers for fighting games on that brand of game on Mortal Kombat or Injustice, they don't watch it because he's going to tell a story. They watch it because he tells a story whipping people's asses. in supreme knowledge, but he wouldn't play that game if that game sucked. There's tons of fighting games that suck, like Dead or Alive and whatnot. Those games aren't they have interesting stories, but nobody listens to them. Soul Calibur has an interesting story, but nobody cares because those games aren't fun. People want to play fun games. Games have to be fun first.
I'm not arguing against that. I'm just saying
games have to be fun. Stories are nice. Stories is good icing on a well-made cake.
I hear you, but just mark my words. Hey, and I'm glad that this is going to be recorded. Mark my words. Mark my words. If gaming wants to hop in and take the attention that television and movie has, you're going to need story. You're going to. I mean, there's
you make it seem like why does gaming need to do that? Why would gaming need to do that? They make more money than both of those industries.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying. I'm saying if you want to, there's a reason.
They have like China's not watching television. They're playing games. Korea, Japan, all of Africa, all of Eastern Europe, even in the Ukraine, they're still playing games. They're like, we survive. They got free games that make more money than movies do. Free games.
Hold on, big shout out to Chet again, Defunk. He said, way before Injustice and NRS, it was Midway and DC versus MK. Then after Midway collapsed, NRS became part of Warner's game groups. That's Neversoft, right? NRS?
No, that's NetherRealms.
NetherRealms. Okay. Defunk also said, so they became an in-house dev and sister company
to DC.
All those Arc system fighting games have ridiculous long visual novels delivering the stories, but nobody but weebs are going to sit through all of that.
No, nobody sits through them. Nobody sits through them. People hop in and play Dragon Ball Fighters because Dragon Ball Fighters is a really good fighting game. Those Naruto games, they failed. Beautiful games, but they failed because they're not fun. They're good for the story mode, but they're not good to continually play.
I'm just glad this is being recorded.
Yeah,
because I know it's in I Told You So mode. The oldest thing older than time, older than anything.
Yeah,
oldest thing ever. And the thing has been the most consistent outside of selling draws on the corner, outside of selling sex. Story is the oldest thing of time. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere.
I didn't say
it's never going anywhere.
I didn't say the story doesn't have to be in. I said story is not the most important thing. It's what you do. And as you look at the metaverse, is what you do because people are active in it. And a lot of filmmakers don't give anybody agency. They want to control the cameras. They want to control what the characters do. They want to control what you can do. And that's not how you look at games. Game designers realize the player can do whatever they want to do. My job is to yes and
then create your own story. Yeah,
it's not even about
storytelling.
It's not about creating your own story. It's like I'm yes anding the player to do what they want to do to the point where that distraction, they let it go and focus on the gameplay.
Well, the number one key for most of this is
you can rip off like God of War 3. I love God of War 3, right? You can rip off all of Kratos' veneer and make him and make Kratos a human that's fighting aliens that live in space, and it'd be the same exact game. It'd just be a story about a human killing aliens to get their powers and trying to take them down. And that could be that story, the same exact story. You can make him a cowboy who's hunting aliens in space, and that would sold just as well as God of War 3 because the gameplay is so good and the camera's amazing in that game. Now, all that's important. Like, I think the elements of good filmmaking coming into a game enhance the game, but story's the thing that's just like, okay, now let's put a story around this. What are we doing? Okay, you did this really cool thing in this level. What's the story to get us there? How do we get there? You did this one cool thing. You made this bullet time action happen. How do we weave that in the story to explain to the player? That's what you need to do. Like Bayonetta, right? Bayonetta doesn't have a great story overall. She's a witch. She's an Umber witch who's out killing angels. And it's considered the best action game. Like, what's the story for a Devil May Cry? Nobody really cares. You know,
Hey, we're gonna change gears. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish
No,
that up.
I'm saying,
Because we're
so
gonna change gears
story's
up.
there, but story's not the strongest element. Story doesn't sell games. Games sell games.
That was the case. Never mind. I'm not gonna argue. I'll just say I'm glad this is recorded because we will absolutely be visiting this again. Hey, Call of Duty, we're gonna change it up. Hey, Call of Duty, because we're gonna still stick into the game space. They've been having problems with cheaters nonstop. And what do? Maybe take away some of their powers. One of their ideas of how to deal with some of these cheaters. So now Call of Duty is going to let you destroy cheaters with your own automatic God mode. Yeah. So the new damage shield in Call of Duty Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone's new Ricochet anti-cheater software makes a cheater's bullets bounce right off you, so you can close in while they hilariously fail around and then destroy them yourself. So Activision has claimed that it is only going to activate this when the server detects a cheater's tampering with the game in real time, and that there's no possibility for the game to apply a damage shield randomly or by accident. So we're kind of like taking the teeth out of the cheaters' grip and allowing them to not have a fun time. Is this going to work?
Grieving cheaters? I don't know. I think cheaters will get off on this. I think they'll find ways to get around it and get off on it. That's hard to say. Like, oh, we're gonna punish you because you're cheating and give somebody else God mode powers. Like, yeah, I mean, it makes the people that get God mode powers feel good. I don't think cheaters care. Cheaters are there to cheat, so they're like, okay, I'll figure a way around this too.
So they can't just boot you? I don't understand you. I mean, it seems like a very...
That's what I'm saying. It'd be easier just to boot you. The threat of being booted weighs more than somebody killing you in God mode.
Good morning, good evening.
It's like, unless you put that on their badge, and every time they come in, somebody has God mode to kill them every time. So it makes them want to quit the game. They just rage quit the game. It's like you hop in the game and you're a cheater. And like somebody always has God mode to kill you at any given moment. They hit a button to kill you. Boom, boom. So it's like, how much do I hate you because you're a cheater? It'll make you quit. It makes you quit.
I don't know if it's gonna work. I mean, we'll see. Like we said earlier, I think the easiest way is just to kick them out. But they've been finding ways to worm around all of this. Hey, did you know that they were planning to do an Alien TV show? So like Alien, not Aliens, arguably one of the greatest sequels of all time, arguably. So apparently it's supposed to take place before Ripley. So I guess I hope they're not going as far back.
You know what Prometheus was?
Yeah.
Is it before or after Prometheus?
We don't really talk about Prometheus like we don't talk about Bruno.
I thought that was your favorite movie.
No, I hear it's better. I hear it's actually aging well. That's what I've heard. I've only watched it the one time and I was kind of done. But I hear it's aging well. According to The Voice in the Sky, that series is going to be coming out on Hulu. So looks like
I guess. I mean, Fox got to do something, right? Keep the brand alive. I mean, it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. The show is being headed up by Noah Hawley, who previously won acclaim for his Fargo TV series that was inspired by the Coen Brothers movie of the same name. People loved that Fargo show. The few people I know, it's not a lot that I've know that's seen it, but all of them rave on it. They're like, Fargo is like a best kept secret.
And I heard that show is amazing. That's interesting because I know that he brought the same width of the Fargo movie into that movie. So I wonder if he's going to bring what made Alien and Aliens great into this show. You know what I really want?
What's that?
Them to start remaking stuff and just make something new. They could make the same show and not call it anything Alien. It could be a whole different type of alien.
That property is a bit of a cash machine. They just had a flopped video game not too long ago that didn't do well at all.
None of their video games do well. The Space Marine game, none of those games do well.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, if it's not Ripley, if I don't see Ripley in it, I'm suspect.
Yeah, like they're not going to have Sigourney Weaver in it because it's before her.
Yeah, so I'm always.
Do they have Bishop? They're going to have Bishop or something like. I don't even think I want to see that. I'm just tired of them putting expanding universes for properties where the authors didn't even want to spend the universe on them. The creators didn't want to spend the universe. Creators like, sure, I'll give you this cash, whatever. Give me the money here.
Right.
You can do whatever you want to do. But just come up with some new story. Let people experiment with new names and new stuff.
Yeah.
Don't have me in China doing karate. Like the Karate Kid.
Yeah, the Kung Fu Kid.
The Kung Fu Kid up to the last moment they changed it to Karate Kid 3 just to make it because it's going to sell.
Well, let's get a little bit of backstory. So it's set in the future. It's set on Earth in the future, and at this moment, it's described as the Edison versus Westinghouse version of Tesla, kind of. I'm sure that kind of was obscure. I didn't get that, but so what was I going to say? Oh yeah, the it's not going to feature any returning characters from the existing films. So Ripley will not be a part of it, and neither will any other characters other than the alien itself.
See, and the creator, he also did Legion. My thing is let him do a story about an alien and not use the alien's alien. Let him create his own alien.
Well, isn't that kind of what they tried to do with Prometheus? It was these weird hybrid alien. I'll try not to think too hard on Prometheus because
that's a stupid movie. But this creator could create something where there's a dangerous alien out there, and he have his own alien doing whatever it does. That's basically what it is. It was like, oh, he made this alien idea. Let's put the alien from Aliens in there. Yeah, because that's what's gonna sell. And nobody remembers everybody has a bad taste in their mouth from Prometheus. And nobody really remembers under the age. Nobody's ever seen the movie under the age of 25, and nobody 35 to 40 remembers the movie that well because they were so young when they saw it. Only diehard Alien and Aliens fans remember that movie very well.
I mean, it's a classic. It's hard to beat, man. I mean, it birthed sci-fi horror. No, I mean, I remember, but I'm in a different space than probably your average consumer.
Yeah,
I mean, it was the grandfather of sci-fi horror.
Your average consumer who just saw Transformers 7 doesn't remember they saw Transformers 7. Don't remember them seeing it.
But here's the thing: your average consumer could give a damn about Sony's Uncharted, and it's one of the best-selling movies in the past 2 weeks. It's not
because they ain't nothing to do. They got freedom.
I think the reason why they pick up some of these IPs is because there's enough of a fan base that can generate hype and swell in order to get casual people to kind of be interested in it. Because I promise you, the majority of the people that went to go see
or they have a fan base
probably have never played the game.
It's not good. I mean, it swings both ways, right? That fence swings both ways.
I mean, the Walking Dead was a very niche comic that not a whole lot of people knew.
They had a strong
and then it blew all the way up. I'm just saying that they're banking on that because they're not creative enough to come up with their own IP.
But nobody knew The Walking Dead. It was a fresh IP. People know of aliens.
Well, yeah, but see, no, but I'm saying that people knew enough of it to kind of spread the hype because that was one of the things about The Walking Dead is like the people that read the comic knew and was like, oh my god, that's a legendary comic. Let's see what they can do with it in live action. Old school people that like aliens. There's a reason why they made that game, whether it sucked or not. I mean, it's a familiar IP. Even people that never watched it know about it.
So I make an alien movie. I make an alien show about a super killer alien that's kind of in between the movie Species and Alien.
Species.
And people are like, yo, this is aliens in between Species and Alien. Whole different property, new property. We call it Geomorphs. I mean, this Geomorph movie, this whole new property, this alien that comes out of the planet. And all of a sudden, it's between the alien and it's a Species alien at the same time. People go see that because it reminds them of Species, it reminds them of Alien. You tell me that it's Alien and it's not exactly Alien when I get it, I'm going to bash it. It's kind of is like, so sure, Alien has an audience that's 45 and over, a really big audience 45 and over. But those people, a lot of those people that are in their 60s and 70s, they don't stream. They're not going to stream on Paramount or Hulu. They're not going to do that. They barely got Netflix. They got Netflix because one of the kids wanted it. And then the younger people don't even give a shit what older people want. They don't care. They think our taste is stupid. I talked to enough
Maybe.
middle kid. I talked to enough kids, middle school kids and high school kids that know that tell me our taste is stupid all the time.
I believe it, but those IPs still have people that know it, and that's what you're paying for.
They have
I mean,
producers and executive
you're
producers who are
paying
willing
for
to
the name
pay for it.
recognition.
They're
Yeah, you're
willing to
paying
pay
for the name recognition. It does
Yeah.
half of the lifting of your marketing.
because
So
you have
that's
you have an executive producer that grew up on Alien who wants to say, "I'm part of the Alien TV series."
I don't know, man. It's
Because
I see why they do it. It's a
because
cheap
when they do
end.
marketing research reports, they don't tell you what profit it is. They say we're doing a movie about aliens, an alien, kind of like the movie, but not the movie. Would you want to see that? People are like, I don't remember that movie, and people are like, yeah, sure, whatever. I like aliens.
We are in the age and space where everything has to be a universe in the universe, prequels, all of that.
Yeah, all that, and
It's just the new normal.
yeah. So it's like consumer research, consumer insights. They do a bunch of interesting studies. They never tell you what they're working on. It's like, oh, we're doing a story about an alien. Would you want to see it? Yeah. Then some producer guy was like, you know what I've always wanted to do? I always want to work with Ridley Scott and do an alien movie. So I'm going to do an alien TV show, so I can go to his house and talk to him about notes.
I'm jumping in real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to this podcast, and one of the podcasts I always listen to. Started as a writer, but now he's actually on the other side. So he would actually critique TV shows, but now he's actually a TV show runner.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was kind of talking about this, and he was saying how he'll go and he's just pitching all these ideas, and he takes all these meetings now. And then so what he does is he goes in and he says, hey, I have this, and they'll ask him like, hey, what are you working on? They'll ask the writer or the showrunner, what are you working on? What do you have in ideas? And then he'll say like, yeah, I have this idea, I have this idea, I have this idea. And then they'll pitch it to him saying like, well, what do you think about this? Because we own this IP.
Mm-hmm.
We have this IP. We're thinking about doing something in this franchise or this thing. Like, do you think that story that you're doing would fit into this world? Right.
Exactly.
And so it's, I get both of your comments because like I'm a huge Aliens fan, and I would definitely love to see them do something, especially with Noah Hawley. But then at the same time, it does feel like they're just IP chasing and putting out. But again, that's also the age that we're in, right? Where it's like there's no end in sight for this, where they're just going to milk every possible IP
that they already own
because they have these streaming services that they have to push and get subscribers to, or else everybody's gonna be out of jobs. Right? So and it's literally an arms race because you have all these services that are trying to establish a beachhead and trying to establish some sort of market share. And as time goes on, you got these behemoths that are really, really pulling ahead. Like HBO Max is actually pulling ahead pretty decently from what I've heard lately too. So you have all these other things. So we'll see. I think it's just gonna be. Yeah. I think it's here to stay. Unfortunately, good or bad, it's here to stay. And hopefully, what just happens is that some really cool gems come out of it.
Yeah, like imagine if HBO, instead of calling it Succession, they called it Dallas. We own Dallas. We're gonna call it Dallas. It wouldn't hit as hard as Succession does. The fact they call it Succession makes me think it's something new. Or better yet, they took House of Cards and said we're gonna call it West Wing. It's a dramatic version of West Wing. The dramatic version of West Wing. Versus calling it House of Cards. Sure, House of Cards is based on a British show, but imagine they said, let's get people loved West Wing so much. Let's make a dark, gritty version of that and call it West Wing 2012. You know, it wouldn't have hit as hard because people would expect the original West Wing out of it.
Right.
People expect when you tell me something is strawberries and it tastes like cherry, then I don't want it when I'm fixed on strawberries. Or if it's tell me it's strawberries and it tastes like sour strawberries, not sweet strawberries, I don't want it. Like these are the perfect strawberries. Instead of just getting one, we're gonna give you 12. And all 12 of them are bittersweet. You're like, what? You should have told me it was cherries, because that's what they taste like, cherries. Nah, because we know you didn't want cherries. You said you like strawberries because you had strawberries 20 years. You had a strawberry 20 years ago. And so we gave you a strawberry. It's interesting what they're doing. But yeah, I wish they would just come with new properties and just build a market. Like Netflix is about new properties on a lot of stuff. A lot of things on Netflix we've never seen before. Because they're like, we could go out and buy all these licenses we want to. There's a lot of publishing houses out here, book publishers, that are going out of business. That are fire selling all their IP. There's a lot of things being optioned out here. But no, we just want to do our own original thing. Sometimes we'll pick up a book IP that we think is strong, or we like the author and we want to show love to it.
I think Rodney was on the money regarding it's an arms race with some of these platforms. Netflix, more so than any other platform that I've ever seen, it seems like their strategy is we're going to throw everything against the wall and just see what sticks.
Yeah,
because they're actually catching hell for not giving series enough time to kind of breathe. I was reading an article that was saying something in regards to it had this television series Friends came out today. They would have canceled it after the second season because the reviews weren't really that high on the TV show Friends. It wasn't until like it's around third, fourth, and fifth season that it like really, truly like found its legs. With that being said, and they're just going to give everything like 1 week and not enough time to gel, you either got to knock it completely out the park on your first go around, or you're not going to even get a chance to get a chance to grow. And Netflix is like, well, we don't care. We're throwing it all against the wall.
First of all,
whatever sticks. If you're lucky enough to stick, then you'll be lucky enough to get like a second season, and then they kind of go from there.
I agree, but people can't forget what Netflix is. Netflix is not a content producing company. They are a data insights company. Their whole model is we happen to be in the business of streaming, but we could sell cars, we could sell water, we could sell anything. We just so happen to sell entertaining content, flat screen content to people. That's the business we found ourselves into. But what we're great at is mining a lot of data, developing the best insights on that data, and providing what's going to happen from near term to future term with that type of property, with that type of product. So we could sell anything. We're choosing right now flat screen content.
Huh?
And they're dipping themselves into interactive content now, right? They dip themselves in. They're dipping themselves in because it's still it's the closest thing they have to flat screen. It's the one thing they know. But they develop insights. Like they know that the Indian woman in Bangladesh likes the same Korean dramas as the Nigerian woman or Nigerian man in London who likes the same things as the Korean man, and with his wife love it too, and they all watch around 7:00 p.m. their time. And we to grab that insight, and we know that each of them like a different image. The Nigerian woman likes looking at faces, the Korean couple likes looking at landscapes, and we merge it to them at that perfect time so they can click into it and watch it. And they stay with they don't. Their product is not the content. Their product is the service. We can serve you something in 3.5 seconds. Be it a burger, be it a shake, be it whatever. We give it to you faster and better than anybody else. And so eventually you get tired of eating burgers and you get tired of drinking shakes. You want something different. So we offer you that other thing. And we know that you want that other thing when it comes up. That's their business. Everybody else is a content company. They're trying to make the best content.
Well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. We can go ahead and close this out. Thank you for the great insight, because I know it comes from a good place, a knowledgeable place, and we'll leave it at that. Hey, and that's going to go ahead and conclude this happy hour. Thank you all for hanging out so much and kicking it with your boys on Geek Beast. Hey, if you happen to miss us on the live stream and you happen to be watching this on Restream and you want to check us out in your car, even when you're going for walks and stuff, check out the podcast. I mean, we're up on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, pretty much every podcast that you could possibly think of. Make sure you subscribe. That way you can get up to date, new news when it drops. And of course, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're on here right now. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up and click the subscribe button. And if you're watching this on Facebook, you can catch us there at /The Geekish Network on both platforms. Make sure you hit that like button on Facebook. Hey, Twitch is still live and we're still doing our thing out there, but it's going to be primarily game streams, charity streams, maybe some cooking streams, a couple of other cool little projects that we got coming. So we don't want you to think that the Twitch segment of everything is all done. It's still just getting started. Please consider subscribing to the channel. If you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to us by linking your account and sub to us using Prime Gaming. It costs you nothing, but it helps us out tremendously. We have closed out this week, so huge, giant shout outs to both of my amazing co-producers. Rodney and Chuck, thanks so much. Huge shout out to Defunk for curating all of this news that we have. Giant, huge shout out to sorry, oh my gosh, Digital Click, sorry man, for providing all of the beautiful graphical design and some of the marketing that they do as well. My apologies, I'm on autopilot right now because I've been doing this so long. No, for real, Digital Click really does make us look good. We really do appreciate it, because when we look good, we have good shows. When we have good shows, you guys come back to us. So make sure you hit them up for all of your digital graphical marketing needs. Digital Click is the way. Come check us out next week, because I know we got another big boy show on Wednesday with Binge Worthy. That's definitely in the mix. And of course, we're going to keep you up to date regarding all the additional shows that we have going on as well. Saturday is a great show for you to check out, Tech Nubians. It's really cool. It's tons of fun. You get to see people of color in the gaming space. Drop gems on you, and it's cool. It's kind of like being a fly on the wall with some really important people. My man Chuck is a part of that team as well. Hey, boss man, anything else you want to say to the people?
Oh no, just good night. Hope to see y'all soon.
Absolutely. Good night. God bless y'all. And I'm about to go get my Elden Ring on.
Mm-hmm.
We out.